Evening freaks. I'm here to give you a read straight from the hip with lots of lip, and I'm finally wrapping up the What's on Deck in December series with Scorpio. And it was exactly 11 on the clock when I said that. So, Scorpio, I feel like you're really coming into alignment. This reading is going to be for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, North Node, Mercury, Mars. I also heard Pluto. Okay, Pluto came in really strong. So, sometimes the planetary call outs will switch around depending on the reading. And sometimes I get the guidance to add a certain planetary placement or take one out, and I just go along with it. So, if you got a Scorpio Pluto, then that can count too, all right? Or if you have a loaded eighth house, three or more planets in the eighth house of Scorpio, or a significant planetary placement in the eighth house, even if it's not in the sign of Scorpio, but it's in its house, the eighth house, you may find resonance with this message. Do be aware that this is a collective reading, okay? So lots of different Scorpios out there. I just bring the stories in that want to come in. Take what speaks to you, toss aside the rest, tune into your intuition. You know better than anyone how the energy is communicating to you, especially you Scorpios. You're very sensitive in that way. You always can pick up the more subtler undercurrents, okay? So just listen to what comes through and then apply it as it fits in your situation. Know the cross-watcher energy absolutely can come into the mix. Flip-flop the roles as you need to, and just be open, see what comes forward. I did get an initial message in for you all that you are really in this place where you're running some serious like witchy energy, but I'm picking up like Elphaba vibes, okay? I don't know how many of you have seen Wicked or read the book, which personally for me, it's all about the book by Gregory Maguire. It's an awesome book, and it speaks so much about socio-political issues. It's just a really powerful book, actually. A lot of people are more familiar with the musical, which I've never seen. I would love to someday, though. Hence the green light. I'm picking up Elphaba vibes. I also have on, my pentagram. So there's something about this coming in. I'm getting sort of a dualistic message with it. And it came in specifically like Elphaba for a reason, okay? Because Elphaba was a total rebel. Total rebel. Unlike anybody else, walked her own walk, and dealt with a lot of people who misunderstood her and judged her by surface appearances and judged her according to what they had heard other people say about her rather than actually getting to know who Elphaba was. And in the book, she's very much kind of like an anarchist. She does her own thing. She marches to the beat of her own drummer and is highly individual, but also controversial. And I feel like that is the energy that's really running for Scorpio Collective right now. I feel like you're going to do something that requires you to be a bit of a rebel. Let's see what the bottom of the deck energy is here, okay? We got dawn, the light after the darkness. Yeah, and I feel that that's what this energy is really about. It's about you stepping out of the shadow of these like judgments, these opinions of others that have been placed on you, and freeing yourself from that and stepping into the light, the truth of who you are, really embodying that, bringing that forward. And that this might be controversial, the moves you make might be kind of unexpected. And it was 4:22 on the clock when I said that. So master number, and with that 4 energy too, we're really looking at the foundation. So it's sort of like your foundation for moving forward is really going to be built through taking risks. Maybe doing something that feels a little scary, a little daunting, or you're not quite sure how people will react to it, but it feels like, no, this is what's in alignment for me. And it's by taking this risk that you actually really stabilize the future and your way forward, okay? We do have also, it's funny that I said you know, Elphaba and this like witchy energy came in because we do have the owl in this card. You may have even done some kind of working around full moon, this full moon we just had in Gemini. You might have done some moon magic, some of you out there. This might have had something to do with being able to see the truth in a situation, gain clarity, gain wisdom about the right action to take. I think you will have some signs coming forward that will guide you in the right direction. I also pick up with the owl there. I can't ignore this piece about the deceiver medicine, okay? In a lot of tribes, owl is viewed as a message of the deceiver, okay? So some of you are really dealing with the deceiver. You're dealing with people who have been deceptive towards you. You're finding out about this. You're having truth illuminated in these areas. Others of you are finding the deceiver within. You're discovering ways that you have lied to yourself or told yourself stories about your situation because it was easier to look at things through that kind of filtered lens than it was to face things directly. And so this is a big part of the theme that is coming forward for you in this month of December. And I am picking up this very much like Lilith energy, okay? Lilith taking a stand, even though it means that she'll be exiled. I kind of like feel like that's your energy right now. Like, you know that what you'll do will be very unexpected, and you know that a lot of people will have a certain reaction to it, but at the same time, it's what you have to do. Okay, and this deck that I'm using is the Halloween Oracle. It was really calling out for you all, so we're tapping into these energies, and I'm going to do some clarification with tarot, okay? But we got winter, the sacredness of pausing, okay? So I do feel like this is time when you're going to be really just sort of like readying yourself. I think what's happening in December is that where you've been feeling like there's gaps in the truth and you've been wanting to know what's going on, what's really happening here. I feel like a lot of you have been waiting for the truth, and you feel that there is that deception there. You feel the uneasiness of knowing that there's something going on behind the scenes. There's information being withheld, and you are very sensitive. You have that intuitive nature. Like I was saying before, Scorpio can really sense the more subtle undercurrent, and in particular they're very adept at sensing the shadow, because Scorpio knows all about navigating the shadows. So when they know something's going on in the shadows, they pick it up. You know, their senses pick it up. You know something's going on, but I think that though you've had certain intuitions about things, you haven't had any proof. And I think really the whole thing that's coming forward is that you need to trust your intuition. It's almost like the truth has been withheld from you for so long because you felt like you needed to have the proof. And that's almost why you found blockages in moving forward in the way you want to. And the reality is you're being called to take that risk, to trust what your intuition is telling you, to trust your wisdom, your ability, okay, to know how to see in the dark, just like the owl. And this is what leads to the new dawn, the new beginning in your life. By trusting that, by taking the risk to trust yourself in your own perceptions of a situation, even though you don't have tangible proof. It's like the whole reward is in the risk of the leap for you, and you will be readying yourself for this in the winter season, okay? I also see with this leaf here that there is something that needs to be released. There is something that needs to be released, and maybe in this release, there's a need for you to take that space to properly release it. Maybe you've been just trying to kind of distract yourself or numb yourself out or keep yourself busy, so you didn't tend to the actual act of releasing, which involves you being able to feel whatever emotions are coming up for you, to be able to give it any kind of expression you need to give it. With this Dawn card coming up and the magic message that came in, I'm really getting like that Sun King energy, like the return of the light. and winter solstice, when we reach that winter solstice point, after that, the light continues to build. We're over the darkest time. And I feel this is really tying in with winter solstice. And there's some kind of letting go ritual that you're being asked to create for yourself with the winter solstice that will really kind of just help clear out all that old heavy energy. And I mean, you've been through it, man. Scorpio, we've been in a big Pluto cycle, and that is your ruling planet. And one of your other ruling planets is Mars. And we've had all kinds of Mars Venus opposition has gone on all throughout 2022. So for you all, this is so necessary to do this clearing. And I mean, I can't make it up. Look what we got here, the witch. I told you, I was feeling this energy coming in so strongly, all right? For those of you that aren't drawn to that path, and maybe you feel resistance when you hear the word witch, maybe it activates a lot of this old programming or what you've been told a witch is. And so maybe you encounter resistance or fear. I want you instead to think of, instead of witch, replace it with the word healer. Because truly that is what a witch is. A witch heals themselves. They are in the process of alchemy, and they work with nature to bring about this healing. By harmonizing with nature, they learn how to be in balance with life. 11:44 on the clock. When I said this, you see, alignment, the building blocks of life that come together to create manifestation. There's nothing to fear in it. Okay? There's nothing to fear in it. When you pray, you are doing a type of spell. You are doing a type of spell. You are speaking things into existence. Okay? So flip flop, these ideas you have in your head, be willing to look at things in a new way. Okay? We see here, it says the witch, the earthly weaver of the worlds. Okay, so I feel like it would be really good for you at this time too to also get in touch with nature, get in touch with the natural elements, study nature, study the winter season. What does it have to teach you? What does it have to show you? How do you see nature unfolding, flowing, moving within the cycle, and harmonize yourself with those energies? It's actually a really potent, really powerful practice. Top of the deck energy, joy, rejoicing in the present. Okay? And I can't help but notice, do you see all these leaves are being let go from this tree? They're falling away, but there's joy in this. There's joy in the release. There's joy in the letting go. And it's found in the present moment by staying present with your experience. It's only if we're present and even in a letting go process and the parts of that may be difficult or that may be painful, that we have the ability to actually alchemize that energy and experience the release that frees us. And then we get to move into that lighter, brighter cycle of our life, not inhibited by everything we were dragging behind us from painful experiences. So I really see you moving into this energy. And we have here eternal love. Love is love is love, and it transcends physical death. Okay? So some of you at this time may very, very much be missing somebody that passed on. And at this time of year, it might be a difficult time as well. It might be heavy. A lot of people struggle during the holidays, so you might be having some of this come up for you in December. And I would say if this is something that's coming up for you, it might be really powerful to do some kind of ritual about it. Maybe put up an ancestor altar, maybe put out some photos and some mementos of that person, and maybe make some of the dishes that they used to enjoy, and just bring the spirit of that person into your holiday and really just connect with their energy, because that energy connects. It still goes on. Energy just merely transforms from the physical form. It's still there, and all energy is interconnected. So I think you're going to really feel the presence of those that you miss, loved ones that have passed on. I also feel like ancestors are front and center, you know. Connecting with your ancestors can really help you at this time. But there's some peace in this for you about really creating rituals, creating some type of ritual around these things that are the deaths in your life, whether it is actual physical deaths and having to release somebody who, you know, their time had come, and it's so hard for the ones left behind, right? But for the ones who are ready to transcend, it's freedom, it's liberation, right? So there can even be a celebration in that. And there's something about giving your experiences. I feel like a lot of you maybe just had to kind of keep going, and in a sense you didn't give yourself the space you needed to really process what you were going through. And because of this, you know, there's this need to create that space for yourself now. And how to create a ritual, just listen to your heart, you know. Listen to your heart. You don't have to do anything by any kind of by the book sort of way, you know. Just whatever speaks to you, whatever inspires you, you know, go with it, trust it. And again, there's that piece about really trusting your intuition. I feel like, Scorpio, you learned a really major lesson this past year, and I think this is part of what you're integrating in December. You really learned how uh, you hadn't been trusting your intuition, and how that actually backfired, how that worked against you. I think it's interesting too, because I feel like for a lot of you, this is sort of like a repeat lesson in your life. I feel like you've been down this road before, and you told yourself you wouldn't doubt your intuition again, but yet you went there, you know? And we got vampire, emotional intelligence, okay? And so I'm really seeing this as these connections, you know, that just have this like parasitic effect on you. I feel like you were engaged with something that maybe it was very seductive, was very alluring, enticing, um, probably romanticized. Probably the shadow aspect of yourself romanticized it. And so it intrigued you, it drew you in. And at the same time, you understood the darkness that was there. You understood the darkness that was there, and the way it could become a very binding sort of situation, you know, because when you think of vampire energy, vampires need the sustenance of others. They need to leech that power, that energy off of others in order for them to be in their power. So to me, that's a very like codependent dynamic. And I feel like that's what this is speaking of. But it's almost like feeding off of each other's shadow energy. I think you had a connection like this. I think it showed you a lot about yourself. I think you saw parts of yourself that you didn't know were there. And it was shocking at times. It was destabilizing at times. You battled with yourself a lot. You battled with yourself a lot. I do feel there was a lot of seduction, you know, in this situation. And for some of you, this is in relation to an addiction, you know, and in others, it's a connection that was addictive. It was a connection that you knew was no good for you. No good for you. And yet you couldn't resist. And in the process, you know, it's like, what's the cost? It really drained you on a certain level. And so you learned that you had to kind of like activate that emotional intelligence, which requires that you move into that place of instinct where you use your brain. You don't abandon your brain. And the mental acuity that was gained from the experiences you've gone through, you know, you can't ignore what your experiences have been before. They have to factor into the equation. You can't just be completely ruled by lust or desire or temptation or hunger for power, okay, or control. that's where the intuition comes in, you know? So it's this need to merge both pieces and understand, what part of myself am I acting out of? Is this coming out of the place inside of me that is emotionally intelligent, that is listening to both my intuition and my wisdom gained from the experiences I've been through, from the times I got through the shadow before? And it was 2020 on the clock when I said that. 2020 vision, right? Seeing things clearly. Big owl energy so strongly coming through. Look at this, bottom of the deck. On the other side, the split ancestors, the love and legacy of our DNA, all right? So for a lot of you, I'm also picking up with this ancestors piece that it's very important for you to connect with your magic from your ancestral bloodline. So learn about your ancestors, okay? Because there's so much healing that's going to come through within you. And I mean this physically. If you've been struggling with physical health issues, by connecting with your ancestors, activating your ancestral spirituality, your ancestral magical gifts that come through your bloodline, you're going to experience a complete realignment, rewiring of the nervous system, the energy body, your physical body. And as a result of this, it will activate in you the ability to move forward on your path in such a way where things come into alignment, because you are showing up on your path in a different way. You are in alignment, and this is going to create a big transformation in your life. But there's something about this ancestral piece. Get in touch with the spiritual practices of your ancestors, and any way that you can invite them in to your daily practice would be a good thing. You know, I like to have coffee with my ancestors and just sort of have a conversation, like some coffee talk, you know, and I just shoot the shit with them and I ask them for guidance. It's really amazing what comes through and what starts to awaken within you when you just invite the wisdom of your bloodline to come forward. So I feel like this is a really important piece for you all. If there is some need to do some rituals, some kind of honoring rituals, and some healing rituals around the deaths in your life, and I mean those as actual physical deaths of those who've passed on that you haven't given yourself the opportunity to grieve the loss of. And there's also the need to honor the deaths on the path, like the relationships that didn't turn out the way you thought they would, the hopes you had that fell flat, you know, the things that disappointed you, the things that let you down. It's so necessary, okay, to give a certain reverence around these experiences. I feel like a lot of you have even felt kind of disrespected. Yeah, look at this, the Tower, okay? That's your card. I mean, something is coming along. If it hasn't happened already, it's on deck in December. There is some Tower coming. And it was 23:33 on the clock when I said that. So I feel like this is something coming. You've wanted the truth and you're going to get it, all right? The thing with the Tower is it can really blow your mind. So let's see what's going on here. It can sometimes be a positive Tower. I mean, I always feel the Tower is positive, even if it's disruptive, because it aligns you with the truth. But some Towers can be positive in the sense that they're not necessarily a negative experience. That's just something shocking that you never expected. So let's see what the nature of this Tower is that's coming in for you, Scorpio. I feel like you're going to get a truth that you've been wanting. I think you're going to finally be able to see the missing pieces. They're going to be filled in for you, and then you're going to finally get a clear view of the picture. And this is going to affect the choice you're going to make, the action you're going to take. And the action you're going to take might be viewed as being very rebellious, okay? I'm picking this up. What you find out might be extremely activating. It might be something that you're like, this is a non-negotiable for me. Like, I can't abide by this. I have to, you know, I have to move out of this situation because this is not what I'm okay with. Yeah, I think, there's something you're shutting out. There's something you're shutting out, and you're letting it go with the Four of Swords. You're turning it over. You're releasing this. This is something where you realize that in order to have a place at this table, you have to grovel. You have to beg. You have to put yourself in a position that is not even in alignment with who you really are. And if you stick around in this situation, once this truth is revealed, you're going to realize that you're actually abandoning yourself. I don't see you doing that. I see what's going to happen is when this comes in, you are definitely going to be letting it go and doing a bit of resting and integrating and just sort of processing the experience. This also could be in relation to you were counting on some money. You're counting on some money, you're expecting some money, and it doesn't come through. And so you can't move forward with something that you thought you were going to move forward with because you don't have what you need. Okay, let's see what this is that came out here. We got the Knight of Wands to the Knight of Swords to the Devil. Okay. We got Air Sign Collective with the Knight of Swords. That is Gemini, Libra, Aquarius with the Knight of Wands. We got Fire Sign Energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. It looks like this is how it looks to me. It looks like air and fire are rushing in to confront the devil. Air has got truth to speak. Fire is there to bring forward some type of action. I don't know why I'm getting this, but I'm getting like a teaming up of energies coming forward to call out something toxic and to take an action to put it to an end. So this might be what takes you by surprise. I just got in some cases, this is an intervention. This is an intervention. Somebody has been, they got some kind of addiction. They've been, in some cases, stealing money to get their fix, they're going broke, because this addiction's taken over their life. And this is an intervention. An intervention. I got that. That's a story for somebody. In any case, I think that some toxic behavior, some really unhealthy, dysfunctional behavior is being called out. And there's some kind of action being taken, communication about this. It's shocking when it's revealed. It changes everything. Okay, let's see how it changes everything. Let's see if we can get any more information. Wheel of Fortune right there. Flew out the deck. So this is a shift. This is a big, big shift. Bottom of the deck energy, your energy. Queen of Cups. That's you, Scorpio, okay? This is you. I think you're going to be really honing into your intuition when this comes forward. And we do see death right after this, okay? So you're going to end something. When you hear about this, when this comes forward, you're going to have a major trajectory change on your path. You're going to drop this with a quickness, and you're going to put an end to this. Now, I have to say, some of you might hear that somebody loses their battle with an addiction. This is somebody who struggled with this for a really, really long time, and they weren't able to make it. And for those of you that hear about that, I'm so sorry. But this is somebody's story coming in here, okay? For the rest of you, you are going to get wind of this situation where this truth is going to be revealed about this toxic behavior. And like I said, I am picking something about an addiction I'm picking up really strongly, but it could be anything. It could be any kind of toxic situation. It could be a third party situation. It could be just about anything. But when this comes, everything changes and this ends and you go in a completely different direction. When you go that way, follow the beat of your own drummer. Be a rebel. Don't conform.